Welcome to Master the Game. I'm Juice, and there is so much to talk about today. This is going to be a different kind of video. I'm going to be talking about Free RPG Day that we just participated in. I'm going to talk about my 12-year anniversary and the gift I got for my wife because it is a nerdy gift, and I think you guys will appreciate that. I'm going to talk about some Magic the Gathering. Going to be talking about some campaign stuff from D&D campaigns. Some miniatures I've picked up, and some other things. So again, it's going to be a lot in this video, so I hope you will stick around, watch the whole thing, weigh in on what you think is interesting, and I will try my best to timestamp the chapter. So if, for instance, if I'm talking about magic and you don't want to hear about that, you can skip ahead to the parts you actually do want to see. Magic the Gathering is a game that my aunt, who passed away back in 2017, she got me into when I was in middle school. She worked for a Borders bookstore, and so she got employee discounts. I don't know if she did on those, but Tempest was the thing, and so she got me like a starter deck, and she bought me some other packs, and we would play against each other. I didn't play against a lot of my friends or anything, but her and I did build different decks and play against each other and just had fun. I remember having a sliver deck at the time. I remember I really liked the big, bulky creatures. I loved the greens because they had the creatures with the big numbers on them. And it's funny because we've sort of got my child, one of my children, into it. He's 10 years old, and he's very similar. He is very into the green-blue deck combination and loves big monsters. In fact, his first deck was a little bit top heavy, so it's not an effective deck, and he's been getting his butt kicked and learning really quick. So there's that. But the thing that brought me back to Magic is Final Fantasy. Now, Final Fantasy VII, if you don't know, is my favorite video game of all time. It's the only game that kind of made me get choked up. I think I cried at a couple spots. But it's the only game that really impacted me like that emotionally. And so that's what got me back into it. So I did get the starter deck. So I have the Cloud and the Sephiroth starter decks in here. I do not plan on commingling these with other cards. I've bought a couple of the pre-release decks. Or not decks, but the pre-release boxes. So these are really cool. Obviously, they come with their own spin down. They come with some cards. They come with a promo card. So here's the couple of promo cards I've got. One is the Brynhilder, and the other one is Clive's Hideaway. I have played other Final Fantasy games. I played 15 with Noctis. Great game until you get halfway through, and the second half is just not fun. But it was a great game for a good chunk of it, and so it's a fun game to play. So, and Final Fantasy has always done a good job with their characters. I've played some of the early ones on NES, never beat the other ones. Final Fantasy 7 and 15 are the only ones I beat. I did attempt to play Final Fantasy 8. I didn't get too far before I kind of gave up on that one. I loved the concept. I think I had borrowed the game from like a Hollywood video back then, and so I had to return it, and I think that's the main reason I didn't finish it, because I never owned it. But I remember Squall and some of the other characters, and I think there were dinosaurs in that one too. So I don't know, maybe that's a game I'll go back and play, because I think that would be fun. But the art cards in these are really cool. Like I got the Sephiroth, because I have also bought some individual packs. I got a couple of this character, I think. Got this cool one. Genova, not Jehovah. Genova. Yeah, here's the gold stamped version of this. So I actually have 3 of this card. I've got 2 unstamped, and then I got that one. So see, 2 unstamped. But I think it would be kind of cool to get all of those. Then I got this cool one, Summon Bahamut. Love that one. This one's interesting. All of these are really cool, in my opinion. So, big fan of these. I'd like to get all the Final Fantasy VII ones. That's my main goal, to collect them. But I am playing the game. In fact, the starter deck did get me back into MTG Arena. I used to have it on my phone back like when Planeswalkers, and I had some other stuff. So I've been playing MTG Arena on my account. I got my 10-year-old set up with MTG Arena on his account. And so we've been playing those, and I've got quite a few decks and stuff in there. He's only got a couple so far because he just went through the tutorial. But anyways, a lot of fun with that. I'm a fan of the red-white deck, but I've got a couple deck boxes. I got the Chocobo one. I got the Cloud one. I've got deck sleeves because I do plan on making a Commander deck myself. I'm not going to play Commander. I don't like the idea of multiplayer and like the politics and all that involved. But I do plan on making probably a Commander deck, and so that in our household we can play heads up against each other, just 1v1. But standard deck all the way. I love red white decks. That's kind of where I'm at these days. I have a lot of fun with that. I like healer decks. I like artifact decks. Love the like goblin decks. Like those are fun. Like there's a lot of different things I like, but red white decks are my absolute favorite. So that's what's going on with that. So I've kind of been dabbling with some Magic. Not spending a ton of time on it, but just a little bit. Yesterday was our 12-year anniversary. So something I've been thinking about for a long time, and this is kind of inspired by the way I planned to propose. Unfortunately, when I proposed, for circumstances out of my control, I couldn't do it the way I wanted to. Okay? Kind of made an agreement, and just a lot of stuff kind of came up at the time. So when I was going to propose, I was going to do a scrapbook. And in the scrapbook, I was going to have a page for like our first date and all these different things. That was kind of the plan. And didn't happen. So taking inspiration from the original idea and the fact that it was 12 years, and my wife is a huge gamer. She's a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Heck, she's getting back into Magic the Gathering as well. In fact, we spent part of our anniversary 2 times yesterday looking at Magic cards at different card stores. So we went to 2 card stores and did that. But because of it, I ordered a custom D12. Originally, I was going to try and get a translucent one with the Lord of the Rings ring in the middle. And each side I wanted to be a memory. Couldn't make it happen. A couple dice makers I reached out to couldn't make it big enough, so they'd have to cut words off. And I didn't think it would stay true to my plan. So I did start, again, I was still looking, and somebody suggested Works of Whimsy Studios. And so they made this D12. Obviously, it's got the 12th side has a Lord of the Rings, inscription from the ring. And then we've got, this one is, we have been married for 12 amazing years. Happy anniversary. So that's our 12-year anniversary thing. But each thing on here is a memory, like all 3 of our children being born. January 3rd, 2010, had our first date at the Brown Jug after you were 30 minutes late with no response. I almost left. I had literally just planned on leaving, and then she showed up. Her phone was locked into a friend's apartment. She texted me once she got in and said, "Hey, sorry, we were locked out of my friend's apartment. I'll be there in 5 minutes." So she barely caught me before I left. That one right there, nothing else would have happened if I left in that moment, I think. I didn't even know it was a date. But anyway, so this does open up. Try not to. I always worry that I'm opening it from the wrong side. It does open up, and you can put stuff in there. So I had put 2 matching sets of dice in there. And also from Works of Whimsy Studios was these deck boxes. So mine is the blue, hers is the red, and it matches the dice inside. So I'll open mine. I had ordered online these Lord of the Rings dice. And the dice are not the best, in my opinion. In my opinion, I'm kind of bummed that the color sits just all the way at the bottom. It wasn't mixed in real well. But they're still cool dice. They're Lord of the Rings dice. They're still pretty, like you can kind of see it in there. But you can see the blue sitting on one side and it's clear on the other, which that's the bummer. It's just kind of sad. But very nice. This one's mine. The Adventure Begins. Hers is flowers because she likes, flowers and stuff like that. She does the Lego stuff. Which, speaking of which, she's actually started a YouTube channel that's just Legos and builds. We posted one thing so far, and that was for Pride Month. But yeah, there's her D20, and you can see it's all red sitting on one side, and yeah, they're still pretty. So she's happy. She has no problem with that. I offered to try and exchange them for like a better mixed set, and she said they're fine. She likes them. In fact, she loved them, and a lot of her friends really liked. She sent some pictures. But anyways, so We did that. We yesterday morning we participated in free RPG day for our anniversary. Us and the 3 kids. So we did come home with quite a few stuff. We went to Vault of Midnight in Grand Rapids. So I did get some D6s. I did get 2 of the Emperor Mind Flayer, which I think is from Baldur's Gate 3. Very cool, unpainted Mind Flayer. So there's those. I got 2 of those. We got the Free RPG Day sticker, which I'm going to put on my dice box. We got quite a few different things. We got level 1 here. We got this. I am a big fan of Matt Forbeck, and so I've been getting all of these if I can, all of the Marvel Multiverse stuff. I have the books. I haven't played the game yet. I want to. But yeah, and then I got Arkham Horror, because I think that would be a fun game to try. Legend in the Mist, Ethereal Expanse, and Whispers of Chaos. All these were ones that kind of like looked interesting to me. There were a couple I didn't see that afterwards I was like, crap, that would have been cool to get. Pathfinder and Starfinder, just because I do get all these every year. And that's mostly habit at this point. Obviously, I think Paizo's a great company. I'm not really that into the system. Not to run it, at least. To play it would be great. Because I like that aspect. Basic role-playing, quick start. It's a pretty meaty one, so that appealed to me a little bit, because I felt like, okay, it's a quick start, but there's probably a little more in this one. This was one of my I think my 6-year-old chose, was Shift. I don't know anything about it. It just had some nice little art. On the back, it had a little bunny. So it looked like maybe it's a good game for kids. I don't know. It looks basic enough that we could like probably play it together. Like the art in it like seems maybe like it could be good for kids. So I don't know. But that's one we got. We got the G.I. Joe and Transformers one. Once again, my 6-year-old was interested in that. So, so we did all those. We also bought some miniatures. So after that, before that, I should say, we did go to where I work. I work for Legend Sports and Games in Grand Rapids. I do the social media for them. And I do it for the sports side. But we were there for the tabletop card game show. So a ton of Pokemon, some Magic. Got some cool pictures for our page. And while I was doing that, my wife was looking at the white and black cards. She was starting to build a deck because, again, she's getting back into this. And, so that was cool. So she's getting the bug again. She's looking at them with my daughter. Me and my boys went through the card show. And then we left. We brought the kids home. And then last night, we decided to go out for dinner. We went to get sushi, which was awesome. Had some coconut shrimp as an appetizer. And we weren't sure what we were going to do after that. So I proposed, hey, let's run to Galactic Toys just to look at their miniatures. And because we were trying to think of something to do together. And again, my wife's a nerd like me. So that was cool. We went there. And she's like, yeah, maybe we could look at some Magic cards over there. Is that cool? And I said, sure. Their AC was broken, which was a big pain in the butt for me. Because I run hot. And it was a 105 heat index, I believe, yesterday. So when we walked in, we're looking at miniatures, and my wife saw this, like, fairy. It says a pixie, so I guess it's a pixie. So she is playing a fairy in one of our games that rides a cat. And so she uses a miniature, but it's more of a generic one that we have quite a few of. And she saw this and said, ooh, that would probably work better. And I said, that's cool. So we ended up buying that. It was like $8. I don't know if that's the going rate for that. Went through and pulled a bunch of red and white Magic cards. Again, getting back into this kind of. Also got a bunch of artifact cards. Because I really like the Cloud deck and the starter set. Kind of lends its way to be an artifact beneficial deck. And so then, and she got a bunch more black and white cards. I then noticed their clearance section, they had the Dragonlance miniatures. So because the package is all screwed up, but the miniatures look to be in good shape. So I did buy this because I like that they match, so I could use them as a town guard, I could use them for a cult, I could use them for a lot of different things. So I bought that, And then was pretty happy with that. So that's how we spent our anniversary. Again, I thought it was great. I enjoyed it a lot. No complaints there, and I had a good time. So that's how we spent our anniversary. Kind of nerdy. In fact, when we were looking at the Magic cards, my wife said, she looked at me and she's like, "We are the biggest nerds." She's like, "Who spends their 12th year anniversary looking through Magic cards for an hour?" And I was like, "Hey, that works for me." It was cool. So that's what we did. But so that's what's been going on recently. I did move my game room around before. The desk was actually the other way, so didn't have this as my backdrop. I decided to switch it around, mostly to free up some space for my game table. So my game table's right here to the left. I can turn this to show quickly, but it's over here, and you can see it there. And so now I have a lot more floor space right here that I can just move my chair over. Before, I used to have to go around the desk and sit at the corner of the table. I did get a new desk. I helped someone move, one of my wife's friends. We helped them move last week, and they gave me their desk. So that was cool. They're moving out of state. So I got an L-shaped desk now. It's smaller, but it works well. It gives, again, more floor space. Again, works great for that. Now I have the bookshelf backdrop back here again. It also makes it really easy if I'm running an online game to come back here, grab a book I need, if I need one. So that's cool. But yeah, this was like a 4-day project, about 6 hours a day by myself of just moving stuff, cleaning stuff, moving more stuff. And I finally got it done. I did get rid of some stuff in here, but ultimately I think it's better. I love it. And, I'm excited for what this means for what I can do in here, the videos I can do in here. Just everything is now, again, better. This is probably the 4th time I've moved this room around in 7 years. And every single time I've moved it around, things have gotten slightly better. I can stream games from here because I got a small TV back here. Got my radio there. There's a gap that's like that big between, behind here where I can go and get to my Xbox and stuff. I've got all my like Magic cards and sports card stuff there, but I also have some sports card stuff for card shows over there. Like everything is just better right now. So I'm thrilled with it. But yeah, on to some other stuff. So we are currently running... I'm still running my Patreon game. I'm still running my my friend D&D game, and then my family D&D game. I'm playing in a Tuesday campaign every other week, which is the Eve of Ruin, the Vecna campaign. That's been a blast. I'm playing a Goliath Barbarian. There are 2 other Goliaths. One is a Paladin. The other is a Druid. And we're like brothers from another mother. There's also a Bard... Dragonborn that my character doesn't trust because my character's family was killed by dragons, and so he still views that as like a reminder, and so he's not real trusting of that guy. And then an elf wizard that my guy has been getting read to because my guy's intelligence is a 7. He doesn't think he can't read. He's learning stuff. My character is suboptimal for this campaign. Failing wisdom checks constantly, intelligence checks. Like he's just not built for this. So he's been struggling against cultists and spellcasters and stuff. But it's been a blast to play. I'm really enjoying that campaign. It's one of the most fun campaigns I've played in years. And a lot of it comes down to the players. The DM's great. He does play in my friend game. His name's Peter. And he is absolutely fantastic. You can tell he puts a lot of thought into his prep, tying things to the players and the characters. He makes props. Heck, he prints out maps and stuff, but like almost every session you get a couple props, and he's got, like frames for the character art and stuff that he shows us. Just, it's all very well thought out. He doesn't have any kids, so it's understandable that he has time to do this a little bit. I obviously have 3 kids, so I can't imagine putting that amount of time into it. I spent, so we had our friend game Friday. I spent 8 hours, I think, prepping 4 pages of notes. maybe it was 6 hours. I was up till like 2:30 in the morning. And then we got to our session, and not a lot of the notes I had were explored. So I'll do a separate video on that just because I think it warrants its own video. But yeah, we'll talk about that in another video. But yeah, a lot of stuff. Like I said, I am going to be taking off some time from running games in August, September, and October. Those 3 months, I will probably only run my Sunday games, depending on how hot it is and stuff. But those 3 months are really probably it. That I'm just going to take off from running family and friend games. So, yeah, no, I think that'll be fine. I'll still do videos. I've worked on videos. I just haven't gotten them up. I've filmed quite a few on my phone. Haven't taken the time to actually edit a lot of them. And that's been the problem. That's why I'm behind. I do want to do some more miniature reviews because I've gotten a few recently, like bigger ones. So I did get, for Father's Day, I did get a miniature. It was the Draco Hydra, I think is what it was. So I got that up there. For my birthday, I did get a miniature. I got the Time Dragon, which is, I think he's super cool. There's a couple dragons I've been looking at, like is it the Cloud Dragon where he's got like the horns? It's a Pathfinder Battles one. There's some other really cool ones I'd like to get. I did also recently get the Baldur's Gate. Not recently. This was actually... I got this day 2 of it being out, I think, or day 3. And I then started seeing all the recalls. Now, I haven't opened this yet, but when I was looking at it, mine are not in that bad of shape. In fact, mine are not in bad shape at all. Like, they're not detailed paint jobs, but the eyes are where they need to be, and, you know, everything's where it should be. So I don't know what happened, but I saw some of the stuff out there that people were like, my Baldur's Gate 3 miniatures look like trash. And, like, even if they did, like these ones did, I probably wouldn't care that much. A lot of people get upset about the pre-painted miniatures not being perfect and, you know, like, or too muddy or not enough detail. And, like, they're trying to mass produce these and keep them affordable while still making a profit. So I have no issue with most of the pre-painted miniatures not being perfect, like a lot of people do. I get wanting to paint your own miniatures. I'm not good at it. I don't have the time to do it. My wife is good at it, but doesn't have the time to do it. So we have a bunch of unpainted miniatures. These I'm hoping one day to get painted, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I really don't think it'll happen anytime soon. But I would love for these to get painted. I think that would be awesome. Just not expecting it. So and maybe you have problems with that. If you have a problem with unpainted miniatures just sitting and never getting painted, let me know in the comments below. What's your favorite miniature you have that's not finished? A few years ago, we painted the big blue dragon. That was a 3D printed one that we ordered. And we have never finished it. It's painted. It needs to be... The wings need to be fixed to it, but we need to put, like, metal. Like, we need to drill little tiny spots to put metal in it and then actually glue it to hold it, to make it strong. And then we need to seal it. That's the other thing. My wife will finish about 95% of the miniatures and then never get them sealed. She also has expressed interest in doing like flocking on the bases and stuff. But again, we've never gotten around to it. So we have a rolling cart, and the top drawer of the rolling cart is miniatures that are done being painted or were done and need a little bit of touch up. So really they're like 90-95% done. Then we have another one that were the miniatures we really want to paint that we haven't touched yet. Then we have another drawer that we were like, okay, these would be cool to paint because they're useful, but we still haven't painted. And then there's a bunch of others that we like, you know, a bunch of Bones miniatures that we're like, yeah, we'll probably never paint these, but the kids can play with this drawer. So that's kind of the organization we have of our miniatures. We have hundreds of unpainted miniatures. This is just the reality of it. And it's kind of why I have mostly gone on a freeze of buying unpainted miniatures. In fact, for Free RPG Day when we were at Vault of Midnight, I was looking at 2 of their miniatures. There were 3. There was the wheelchair ones that are unpainted, where it's 2 of them in a wheelchair, a guy and a girl. There was mimics, And there was something. Oh, and then the mushrooms, the myconids. There were 3 myconids, and I was like, oh, this would be cool. So I could spend like $16 or $24 and get all these. Then I was like, wait, we're never going to paint these. Let's not get those. So that's kind of what happened there. But we did buy a gift for my son's birthday. Not my son's birthday. My son's friend's birthday. So we bought a couple books at Vault at Midnight. Star Wars comic books, and then a Star Wars book. I think it was a graphic novel. I'm not sure. But yeah, like just lots of stuff. So when you got 3 kids, it's pretty busy. I am on the board for the local youth football team, so I've been doing that for social media, which, not a lot of people know what all goes on behind the scenes, but it's like trying to make sure we got this fundraiser stuff up and this, and we're keeping sponsors happy. And like, we haven't even gotten into the weeds with that yet. Because the season hasn't started, which means once I hit August, I'm going to be probably overwhelmed with all that. But we have had speed and agility training all winter, and now we're in speed and agility training twice a week this summer. There's other football camps. There's other camps that my other kids are in. So it's just an overwhelming time. And I don't see it slowing down, unfortunately. So that's why it's been hard. But I'm starting again to find time, like I have time to do these videos. I have time to do some other stuff. And that's what I am going to have to do. Once I find time, I just got to make it happen is where I'm at. But I miss doing videos. I miss doing live streams and just chatting. So I want to bring that back. And maybe I double that up with playing video games, because I haven't touched a video game in 2-3 weeks. I'd like to play some video games. So maybe I'll hop on, play some video games. You guys can chat with me, or maybe we will hop on and do a Magic the Gathering stream. Like, I'll just play on Arena. We can just talk and, have some fun hanging out together. That might be cool. That might work out really well. I don't know. But yeah, a lot of stuff that I want to do. I feel like that's always my story. I always want to do stuff. I want to do world building. Every time I run a game and I add a little bit for my prep there, I really get the bug to just sit down and world build, and I haven't had that chance. So I'd like to sit down and do that and flesh out some more of my cities. I'm going to have to in the next 2 weeks, because we have my friend group has decided to travel north, which the campaign doesn't necessarily warrant that. The stuff that I've planned in the campaign has more seafaring implications. But they are heading further inland. So I have to come up with some stuff for that, which means I need to pull up my old notes about the one city they're about to go to from a different campaign. And then some of the other, like the other journeys into the mountains as well, or the forest from that campaign. So I got to dabble with some things there and, just kind of go from there. But yeah, so that's what's up. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. I did save some topics I want to discuss in a future video. I've seen some things online that were said. Like I said, my DM has inspired me to talk about some stuff about a campaign I played in before. I've got some stuff I want to talk about with my friend campaign, my family campaign. So there's a lot of things that I think are very interesting I could talk about with you guys. That I think, one, you guys might gain inspiration from. 2, you might have input that might help me. You might have questions that maybe I can help you with. It's funny. When someone says, oh, here's the problem I'm having, and they present it to me, I usually do a really good job of coming up with solutions, I think, for them. But for some reason, when I run into a roadblock or hit something, which I am like, someone else could have the same problem and I can help them. When I run into some of these things, I am unable to help myself. So there is something that has kind of come up that I feel stuck on. And I tried to view it from like, if it wasn't my campaign. And there's some things I'm stuck on. So I will have a community topic soon for you guys to help me with. That is going to be a video probably for this week. So with that said, I'm just going to end it there. Thank you guys for watching. Next time you see me, we'll either be doing a live stream or it'll be one of those video ideas I have. So with that, guys, thank you for watching. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe if you want to hear more about these ideas I have. If you want to watch our campaigns, you want to hang out in our live streams, make sure you hit subscribe. And give us a like, and I will see you guys in the next one. Game on!